Troglodyte warning. So, Keir Starmer has made his 6 pledges for the government of the next 5 years, but are they radical enough? And could they bring in a Trump like government in Farage? Well, let's break down a video and discuss this.
The OBR isn't the government. So my view has increasingly been that the current institutions of government are set up in a way that means they actually have less and less effect on people's lives. And at the same time, the same types of politicians believe themselves to have the power to actually make radical change when they don't. They all operate with a technocratic incrementalism that hasn't worked well in the last 20 years. And I think the incoming Trump team have a similar view. And that is why that they are setting about to rip stuff up. The Doge Department, the Department of Government Expenditure. RFK Jr. is the Health Secretary. They are inspiring fear in government institutions because they are setting out...
But will they actually do that? That's the question. Trump said he was going to drain the swamp in 2016. He didn't. What will he actually do? That's the question with Trump. He talks a big game, but often he doesn't really do what he says he's going to do.
Upend the last 20 plus years of the status quo. They are starting again with the building of the state because it strikes me their view is that it is far too expensive and far too ineffective. What does that look like? Well, ask yourself why it is. You can get a parcel sent to your door in less than 24 hours, soon to be by a drone, but you can't book a GP appointment online or upload your wearable health tech data to your GP's records. Why is that? And why are we paying so much more for these services that aren't really working? I think Labour gets this. I think they understand this. But the question is, how radical are you willing to be to make that change happen? And I think based on this speech by Starmer today, they aren't really willing to be radical. We have a technocrat in charge. That is not a bad thing. It's not a problem per se.
Because he can't be radical. Because we had a radical alternative in Jeremy Corbyn. He got smeared. He got completely battered by the right-wing media. So what can Keir Starmer do? They're already calling him a Marxist, a communist for just raising a few taxes. If he actually did something truly radical with a Green New Deal and really, really went after the billionaires and put massive money into investment, they'd come for him. And also, by being a bit more reserved and not going radical, they're already going to come for him. So why doesn't he do something more radical and actually push the envelope? Because he's going to have to do something because, again, he's getting battered by the right-wing media and he needs to embrace populism. He needs to, promise big things and just go for it.
The targets he sets out aren't wrong. They're completely reasonable and good luck to him. But I'm afraid I emerge from this speech and the so-called reset of Starmer's government more...
Yeah, they could have made it a bit more exciting, building more houses, putting more police on the streets, raising people's living standards. These are all good things. I mean, compared to what the Tories did, what did they achieve in 14 years? Not much. But they need to get it a bit more excitement, a bit more energy, and have a story to tell about what the last 14 years gave us and the future. You need to give people hope.
More concerned about how this country can actually get better than before this speech. It's just such small beer, isn't it? Labour's absolutely right that the country needs change, but the change they're offering? More of the same plodding, slow incrementalism that has seen living standards fall, has seen an economy...
And this is the problem with neoliberalism. Privatise everything, race to the bottom, pay people the least you can get away with. That's it. Profit over people, privatise people's lives, everyone's isolated, everyone's atomised, lack of community, people are depressed, alienated by the system. They want radical change. Even if it's worse, even if it's Nigel Farage, they want something different. And it remains the question. If Labour don't improve people's living standards in the next 4 or 5 years, we may get Farage. I don't think we will, but there is that possibility. And Labour, again, need to embrace something different. I mean, but again, will they do it? Probably not.
That barely grows, we can't build anything, everyone's ill, and all the while the power of competitor states like China grows, the tech revolution is happening. And before you start at me, I'm not having a go at Keir Starmer here. He's okay. He's trying, his targets are fine. Living standards will go up a bit like they have done for a couple of years. The NHS waiting times will probably come down a bit, but you've heard this all before from people like him before, with the same architecture of the state told to get to it before, and the change that is actually required doesn't happen. Tell me you're not completely disillusioned by the whole thing. Not just Starmer, Labour, Tories, but the whole way in which the state works. Tell me one area of the state that has genuinely improved in the last 20 years. So I listened to Starmer's speech.
To be fair, austerity over the last 14 years has really killed a lot of the public sector. So that is a big one. Tax increases, tax cuts for the rich. We've got so many problems, and Labour are literally having to fix the mess of the Tories. And now Tories are like blaming Labour for everything now. So again, they have to push it further and embrace the idea that, oh, they're communists, they're Marxist. They need to go, yeah, we're going to do something different. Because Farage is not offering anything alternative. And neither is Trump. They say big things, they play a big game, but he's not going to make people's lives better. So Labour have a chance here to actually do something, and they're not doing it. And that's why, again, Farage may have a chance.
And I thought, this country is about 5 years behind the United States. And unless there is some pretty fundamental change, you feel much richer, services work, not just a little bit better, but significantly better. You're not paying a tax rate of about 60%. I really, really think we will have a Trump-style change in the UK. I think people are done with the way in which government has worked for certainly since the financial crash. And I think people are ready for something different. And something different might not necessarily mean better. It actually might not be as democratic. But I'm left so depressed by Starmer's speech here that even if I thought all his plans were the right ones, I've got almost no faith in that they're going to be delivered. Not because it's Starmer or Labour, this isn't party political, but because the government machine, as it's currently constituted, has been shown to be largely incapable of that change. And under Keir Starmer, we are going to see more of the same. And I think that there will be massive political cost to that more of the same, that cost not being dissimilar to what has happened in the United States or even in France and Germany. So tell me that Keir Starmer's reset today made you more hopeful about Britain.
And I think he's right there. We have two alternatives. We move to the right, Nigel Farage, what happened in America, or we move to the left and have like a post-war Green Deal where we massively tax the rich like we did in 1945 and rebuild our country. Those are the two options we have. It's socialism or barbarism. That's all it has ever been historically. And I'm kind of terrified that people are going to choose barbarism. So comment below, will Farage potentially be the next Prime Minister? And I'll see you in the next video.